Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you enjoyed this content, giving it a like and a subscribe is a free way to support the channel as I can continue to create more content like this. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1 what I'm using as a reference for braking is this exit concrete road on the right side. The moment that I'm at it, I'm applying the brake, so at this point in time I want to brake, but be mindful that you can't brake in a straight line, so you also have to position the car. So while I'm still positioning the car, I'm applying the brakes and then I try to straighten up my wheel, because you will be as most efficient as you can with your steering wheel straight. So in a way you have to align into the braking zone in T1 in advance. So if you'll notice from here, you have to go more towards diagonal or keep a straight line from here. You don't have to follow the white line, because the white line will have a kink here where the road will start turning towards the left. And if you're aligning with the white line, then you will have to turn more and brake at the same time. Ideally, you won't turn and brake at the same time. You will just have a small degree of steering angle, as I have here, like 3, 4, 5 degrees while braking. And as more as you go diagonally towards the grass, towards the right side, you should keep the steering wheel straight, because you're going in you're pointing towards this part of the grass, and then you will turn like right now. The car has done most of the braking, and now I will ease the brakes. And what I'm aiming here is to get as close as I can to these black and orange anti-curbs without going over them. So you just want to kiss them here. The car will go slightly over the big curb, but don't take the small anti-curbs. Same here, in between the corners I give it a blimp of throttle. I don't drop it to 0, that is key, because here whenever I will cut this, I want to arrive all the way to the white and red curb. So push the car all the way through so you carry a lot of speed, because you will be able to take this one flat. But what you have to do, you want to turn early into this corner, you want to have the car here on the left side, don't have it center or right, you will sacrifice too much mid-corner speed. And now I want to aim at this anti-curb. I just want to get very close to it, go over the big curb, and then using all the track like this. But here it's an off track. So if you don't bring the car quickly towards the left side, and you will stay just a blink of an eye more, whenever you will touch this grass, you will get an off track, and that's not ideal. So bring the car back. And now for the next corner, the next chicane, the 50 will be my reference for braking and turning. So at the 50, I'm applying the brakes and I will turn into the corner, but I will downshift a bit later. So usually whenever we're braking and downshifting at the same time. Here you want to delay it a bit, so you just carry a bit more speed towards this corner. It's better to do this than braking later, because if you'll brake a bit later, because you're braking later, you probably brake a bit harder and you will shift too much weight on the fronts and the car will slide here. So if you have problems with the car spinning in this chicane, you might try braking a bit later and downshift later, so you can still keep the speed up, but also keep the more neutral balance. The car is oversteering this part. I aim to go around this, again, the black and orange anti-curve. Don't go completely over it, just go on the big curve, the green one. And then right now I will brake more. So this corner has 2 stages of braking. The first one starts before going in the first one into the first corner of the chicane, but now in the middle of the chicane we want to keep staying on the brakes and even peak the same. So if you see here in the brake shape, there's a big peak, then I'm releasing, then a big peak. And the moment when I'm releasing the brakes is around here. Because if you will still maintain high pressure on the brakes here whenever you're also turning, then you will go past the grip limit. So the reason why I'm dropping the brakes at this point is because I want to turn the car and position more towards the left. But after the car is positioned and I'm taking this corner individually now, it's not part of the sequence, it's the last one, it's just one corner now, then I attack it how I attacked the first one whenever I was coming from the straight. So again, pushing the brakes and going close to the anti-curb, immediately go back on throttle and use all this green curve, you'll gain a lot on exit. And if I were to give a single tip here, it's better to go slow in, fast out here. So it's better to be a bit slower into this one, to sacrifice a bit this one, so you get positioned to the white line on the left, so you'll have a good run on this, because you can lose a lot of time in this corner. You can be 2 tenths up in the previous one and then lose 3 tenths in this one, and overall you will lose 1 tenth. So easy to do it. You could see in the delta that I was getting close to 1 tenth, because in the previous lap I was doing exactly this, so that's why I'm doing a couple of laps and try to go through all the mistakes myself so that I can be able here in the track guide to remember them. And now going into this braking zone, I'm braking at the end of this concrete, the exit road on the right side, or the 50. Like right now I'm applying the brakes, but what didn't happen perfectly in this corner was that I was turning a bit too much and trail braking a bit too much, and on the exit I pushed too hard the throttle, and now I have to counter steer like this. So ideally what you want to do is, firstly you want to get into this camber around here. There's a lot of grip here, but the car will be unbalanced. So you have to find that sweet spot in which you're trail braking, but if you trail brake too much, the car will spin. So what I'm doing here in this corner, I try to be a bit earlier than I should on throttle if I feel that the car is a bit unstable, because whenever you go on throttle, you will bring some grip to the rear tires, and then you will counterbalance the understeer, the oversteery part of the car with some understeer. So try to play with your inputs here. Don't be static, try to be dynamic and see what the car is doing. If you're understeering right here, just hold a bit more the trail brake. If you're oversteer, just drop the brakes, give it a blimp of throttle, and then wait a bit and then go back on throttle. It's not gonna be ideal, but you will carry a lot of speed, and in some cases carrying a bit more speed is better than just driving the ideal line. Now going into the high-speed corner, what I'm doing here, I'm braking slightly past the 50, and I'm trying to clip this red curb as late as I can, so late apex around here, because you can easily get you off track. You can't use more than this. So you just want to brake soft, but hold it for longer, trail braking a bit longer than you think, and then put the power down. For the next chicane, this is one of my favorite corners of the track. So what I'm doing here, I'm using first of all the track. Notice that there's a bit of gray part on the left side, put your tire on it, and whenever I'm first turning with 100% throttle, which is scary, but you have to do it to carry more speed. So I'm going towards it with 100% throttle, and just some milliseconds later, after I'm pushing with 100% throttle, I'm applying the brakes, but I'm not downshifting to third. This is key. Stay in fourth gear, don't downshift when you brake. It's the same principle we discussed a few corners ago, because you will have more speed. So just stay on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes. I want to cut the red and white curb, and now at this curb I'm downshifting to third. So don't go early on third, delay it as much as you can, because as you can see here, I'm gaining a lot. In the previous lap, I was downshifting to third a bit quickly, that's why I'm gaining now. Downshifting to second, and whenever you have this straight line part in the chicane, you should pump the brakes up. So right now you can see that I braked hard around here, but now I'm braking softer because I'm turning. So you have to think that your brake and the steering wheel, they are linked together. Whenever you will increase one of those, you have to decrease the other one. It goes like this. So this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm decreasing the brakes, but I'm pumping up the throttle. I'm pumping up the steering angle, sorry. So right now, again, because my steering angle is 0 degrees, I can pump the brakes again. And for this corner, downshifting to second, what's key here is to be early on throttle. So what I'm trying to do here is at this point here, whenever I'm at the apex, at the inside curb, to almost smash the throttle. You have to modulate it, but be as aggressive, use this curb, you won't get the off track. And now going into the next chicane, a lot of chicanes. So my reference for braking is between the 100 and 50. In the middle, I'm applying the brakes, brake in a straight line. You can even brake harder than this. So you can go to 70, 80 without a problem. Go to second gear and try to cut as much as you can these curves. This one and the next one. And afterwards, you'll push the throttle, use all the exit. Important to cut as much as you can into that chicane. If you won't cut as much, then that corner will become quite hard to keep the speed up. Now the final part of the track, braking after the 100s, almost in the middle of 150, but a bit closer to the 100. Braking in a straight line, peaking to 80 because it's a downhill braking zone. And now I'm looking at this green part of the curb because I want to trail brake and I want to cut it. In this lap I didn't manage to cut it as much as I would, but you want to go with the tire on it. You will, if you do this, you will carry more speed because you will be a bit earlier here to go on throttle. And here again, use all of this, and whenever you're going into the last corner, I recommend using the green part of the curve, which I don't in this lap because I brake a bit softer, so I'm going with 21% on the brakes. You want to turn a bit earlier and try to go 30%. Like if you will be a bit slower here, but you will go on throttle at this point, like very early, and cut the screen, then you will get that time back and more because now we have a big straight. So just a bit more on the brakes and you will gain on the exit, because you see here now I'm losing a bit on the exit, and by the end of the straight I would probably lost close to 1/10 just because I didn't prioritize too much the exit. But in short, that's a track guide around Imola with the Ferrari 296 GT3. It's not an easy track, it's definitely a technical track, but I think racing here will be good. I think there will be a lot of possibilities for overtakes, especially in T1 and in the other chicanes as well. You can easily force someone into a mistake and get the position. So the mental game here is gonna be tough. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. If you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out my sim racing course, it's in the video description, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.